Over the years, there has been no shortage of Stephen King content. The septuagenarian has consistently brought out new horror stories as often as he fires off politically inclined tweets. The Boogeyman is not a new story, but one of many of Stephen King's adaptations. Excited as I am? Then let's look more at Stephen King's books made into movies. Let's dig in. The Boogeyman by Stephen King Adaptation. The Boogeyman is not a new story, as it was published in the 1973 issue of Cavalier magazine and later included in Stephen King's 1978 short story collection, The Night Shift. The Boogeyman is one of the latest to be announced as under development for a feature-length adaptation. The project was initially announced in 2018, with Scott Beck and Bryan Woods behind the script, both co-writing the screenplay together. They, Beck and Woods, have been filmmaking together as partners for a while. They both co-wrote and executively produced films like A Quiet Place and wrote and directed Haunt for producer Eli Roth. Production stopped after the film was canceled in 2019 following Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox. The project was brought back in 2021, and Rob Savage was asked to direct the movie. Savage is quite a big name in the industry and is best known for producing the 2020 Shudder original film Host. The screenplay of The Boogeyman will be written by Mark Heyman, Black Swan, and based on the original script written by Scott Beck and Bryan Woods. Also, Sean Levy, the founder of the production company 21 Laps Entertainment, will co-produce the movie alongside Dan Levine and Dan Cohen. What is The Boogeyman actually about? With the title, which sounds a bit self-explanatory, most people would think that they know what to expect from the movie. But any fan of Stephen King knows better than to expect a simple face value title and plot correlation. The story of The Boogeyman is about a man named Lester Billings who was currently seeing a psychiatrist due to his belief that the Boogeyman was terrorizing him by killing all three of his children, and each of their deaths was surrounded by similarly mysterious factors. Lester Billings tells the psychiatrist, Dr. Harper, that each of his children had all cried Boogeyman as they were being put to bed on the nights of their deaths. He tells the psychiatrist that the closet doors in their rooms were always closed, but upon discovering their dead bodies, they were always open. Even though their official causes of death were considered crib death and convulsion, he believes that the Boogeyman was the actual cause. After the deaths of his first two children, Lester and his wife decide to move to another town far away, thinking that would be the end of the nightmare. His wife became pregnant, and they decided to make sure nothing happened to their new child, Andy, and took extra precautions to protect him. However, she is called away to help an ill family member, leaving Lester alone with the young child. In his wife's absence, he feels the Boogeyman's presence grows bolder and more aggressive, and he fears for his life. He decides to place Andy in a separate bedroom for the first time since the child's birth, knowing that the creature will go after him. When he hears a commotion and investigates, he finds the Boogeyman attacking his son and flees. The police close the case by saying that Andy attempted to climb out of his crib and broke his neck, but Lester knows better. As he leaves, Dr. Harper suggests that he schedule a future appointment. However, Lester returns to the doctor's office with a question and finds the Boogeyman there, removing his Dr. Harper disguise. The Boogeyman movie adaptation. The film adaptation, however, of The Boogeyman seems to have significant differences from the original storyline. The film adaptation perspective appears to be in the form of the viewpoint of the children. After their mother's sudden and tragic death, a teenage girl and her younger sister try to convince their father to take action as they believe their house has become infected by an evil entity. The Boogeyman is tormenting the struggling and grieving family, feeding off their pain and fear, and possibly could have caused the death of their mother. Is there a trailer out yet? No trailer has been released yet, and it's unclear whether filming has wrapped since the beginning of February of this year. But with a not sure 2023 release, it could be a while before we get to see any photos or trailers. Hulu, in charge of the movie's production, generally tends to release promotional materials a few months in advance for their original films, so it could be as early as January 2023 that we get any more information. We only know that the movie will be coming out sometime in 2023. Who is in the cast for the upcoming movie adaptation? Chris Messina will play the role of the grieving father. Messina is known for his role in the M. Night Shyamalan-produced film Devil. He acted as the detective who struggles with losing his wife and son. Chris Messina also starred in movies and shows such as the DC comic films Birds of Prey, Sharp Objects, I Care a Lot, Live by Night, and many others. Sophie Thatcher, Yellow Jackets, and Vivian Lyra Blair, Bird Box, will play the daughters' roles. Both actresses acted in Disney's Star Wars universe. David Dastmalchian will also have a role in the movie, which is not entirely known yet. He's known for playing slightly creepy supporting functions, such as in Ant-Man films, James James Gunn's Suicide Squad, Dune, and The Dark Knight. Maria Ireland from the Umbrella Academy will join the unnamed cast. Lisa Gay Hamilton from The Sum of All Fears will be playing the role of Dr. Weller. Whether she will be playing the role of Dr. Harper, comparable to the short story, or she will be playing a medical doctor is unknown for now. Let's also look at some underrated Stephen King adaptations. Stephen King is most known as the king of horror literature, with his famous books like Misery, To the Shining, and It. King has written many beloved classics, which may have been brought to life both on the big and small screens. Some underrated works include Salem Lot. Salem is one of the most beloved of Stephen King's works. Sources say that it's his favorite work. It was turned into a 1979 TV movie by horror legend Tobe Hooper and will be coming to the big screen soon. The adaptation starred Rob Lowe and Ben Mears, who is an author. He returns to the small Maine town of Jerusalem Lot to write his next story. He later discovers vampires within the community. Some of the cast include Donald Sutherland, Andre Braugher, Samantha Mathis, James Cromwell, and many others. Dr. Sleep. After the massive success of Andy Muschietti's It in 2017, big-budget horror epics looked like something audiences would be clamoring for. Mike Flanagan directed a blockbuster take on Dr. Sleep, King's sequel to The Shining. Although it wasn't nearly the box office hit that it was, it's certainly worth checking out. The movie takes the story of King's famous novel, Dr. Sleep, and brilliantly merges it into the world of Kubrick's original film. The movie stars Ewan McGregor as a grown-up Danny Torrance from the original movie, which is now determined to help and protect a young girl with The Shining from a cult of cannibalistic child killers led by Rose the Hat, portrayed brilliantly by Rebecca Ferguson. Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher is a weird and strange story in the Stephen King bibliography. It's a book King wrote when recovering from being hit by a car, so it's full of elements that you can tell were written under the influence of painkillers. The movie adaptation is equally bizarre, but as a whole package, it's a fun, entertaining horror movie of the 2000s. The story centered on four friends who were vacationing in a cabin when they discovered a species of parasitic aliens had invaded the place. The movie also contains superpowers and government conspiracies. The cast consists of spectacularly 2000s, led by Jason Lee, Damian Lewis, Donnie Wahlberg, Tom Sizemore, Morgan Freeman, and many others. It was co-written and directed by Lawrence Kasdan. Carrie. Carrie is officially the first published novel of Stephen King, and one of his most loved. As far as adaptations go, the 1976 Brian De Palma film is a horror classic, and the 2013 remake has its fans, but not nearly as beloved as Stephen's other works. Written for the screen by Bryan Fuller, best known for the special Hannibal TV series. This TV adaptation of Carrie can't go as extreme as other R-rated feature films. However, it doesn't have to. Instead of the pressure of high school adolescence at the forefront, mother-daughter duo at the center of the story, and horror was pretty well done. And the performance of the mother-daughter duo was played by Angela Bettis and Patricia Clarkson. The movie might not be the best made, but it doesn't deserve to be forgotten. And that's a wrap. Which of Stephen King's underrated movies do you like and feel shouldn't be underrated? How excited are you for the release of The Boogeyman? Let us know in the comment section, and thanks for watching.